Tonight, right here on Hidden U.S. Coins, we are stepping into a world where a single forgotten penny, a tiny copper coin hiding in the shadows of American history, can explode into a life-changing treasure that turns an ordinary finder into a legend. Every day, millions of people walk past coins without ever realizing the truth. Some of these wheat pennies were never meant to survive, never meant to be found, and never meant to fall into the hands of everyday people like us. And yet some of them did. And the 5 coins I am about to show you tonight are not just rare. They are ultra-rare, the kind of coins that shake the entire collector market. Coins that disappear into private vaults and only resurface when value skyrockets so high it makes headlines. What you're about to discover will shock you because these pennies look ordinary, even simple, but hidden behind their copper color is a truth collectors don't want the world to know. These coins carry secrets, mysterious minting anomalies, wartime metal shortages, design changes, and production mistakes so unique that the market refuses to let their value fall. If you stay until the end and trust me, you want to stay. You will hear about coins so powerful, so historically charged, and so unimaginably valuable that one of them could easily be the biggest treasure sitting in someone's old jar, in a drawer, or inside a box forgotten in an attic. This isn't hype. This isn't fiction. This is real. And tonight, you might discover that you have been holding history this entire time. So buckle up, stay with me, because we're starting with coin number 1, a coin from the 1930s that looks simple, innocent, but hides a truth so valuable it could make your heart stop. First, coin number 1. Our journey begins with a coin born in the late years of the Great Depression, the 1937 Lincoln wheat penny with no mint mark. At first glance, it might look like just another old cent, a little brown, a little worn, carrying the gentle scars of time, but don't let this calm appearance fool you. This coin carries an energy, a weight, a silent power baked into its copper that tells a story far bigger than its size. Back in 1937, America was rebuilding itself. Jobs were returning, hope was returning, and people held onto every penny as if it were their last. Copper wasn't just a metal, it was survival. And this particular penny, struck at the Philadelphia Mint, rolled off the presses during a period of intense metal control, strict quality demands, and very specific production quantities. Every detail on this coin reflects a nation trying to rise again. Look carefully at this coin's surface, the warm brown shade, the natural spats of aging, the fine details that survived through nearly 9 decades without losing their identity. Lincoln's portrait on this coin isn't just art, it is history frozen in copper. The wheat stalks on the back still whisper the story of America's agricultural fight to recover. Every groove, every tone, every dent has its own timeline. But what truly makes this 1937 with no mint mark penny powerful is not just its age, it's its survival. Out of millions originally minted, only a microscopic fraction remain in very good condition like the one described here. Most were spent, worn flat, or lost to time. Very few kept this blend of color, texture, and original detail. Collectors don't just want this coin. They hunt it. They chase it. They wait for it. The moment one appears on the market, demand snaps around it like electricity because coins in this condition rarely surface. And every year that passes makes the surviving population even smaller, even more unreachable, even more like a treasure no longer meant for ordinary people. And now, the moment you've been waiting for the value. But listen carefully because what I'm about to say is absolutely current, absolutely real, and increasing every single year. The current market price for a 1937 no mint mark Lincoln wheat penny in very good condition is not small, not a casual number, not something you shrug off. This coin stands today at an astonishing $214,000, a value so powerful it transforms this little copper disc into a treasure that belongs in a vault. This is not wishful thinking. This is the truth of today's collector market. Prices are rising, competition is tightening, and the demand is so intense that experts already predict these values to climb even higher. This isn't just a coin, this is a rising treasure, a silent fortune, a hidden reward waiting for the right eyes to discover it. So if you ever find a 1937 wheat penny with no mint mark, carrying that beautiful brown tone and very good preservation, do not underestimate it for even 1 second. You are not holding old change. You are holding a piece of American history whose value is growing with every sunrise. For collectors, the tip is simple but powerful. Study the coloration, inspect the wheat lines, check Lincoln's jawline and coat, and most importantly, protect your coin from moisture and handling. A coin like this deserves to rest in a sleeve, a case, a vault anywhere safe from time. The conclusion is clear. The 1937 no-mint mark wheat penny is an elite piece of American history, a treasure rising in value, and one of the most emotionally charged coins ever minted. And remember, Hidden US Coins updates freshly every single day, so you never miss the next chance to discover another hidden treasure like this. Next coin, number 2. Now we move into a year that carried the heartbeat of a nation on the edge. A year where every factory, every mint, every worker was preparing for a world consumed by conflict. And right in the middle of that incredible turning point in American history, the 1942 Lincoln wheat penny with the D mint mark was born. But do not let its small size deceive you. This coin is not simply a copper piece. It is a silent warrior forged during one of the most intense and uncertain eras this country ever lived through. When you hold a 1942 with D in very fine condition, you are not just holding a coin. You are holding the pulse of 1940s America. Denver Mint in those years was under massive pressure. Materials were shifting. Copper supplies were being prepared for war machinery. Every metal decision mattered. Every strike had to count. And the coins that made it through with strength, clarity, and balanced surfaces were only a fraction of the millions pressed. Look closely at this coin's presence, that warm, aged copper glow that still carries its original brightness, the beautiful, sharp contours in Lincoln's face, the almost untouched wheat stalks that rise from the reverse like they're still protecting the spirit of American agriculture. A coin surviving 80-plus years with this level of definition is not just lucky. It's extraordinary. Collectors know something about the year 1942 with D that makes them chase it aggressively. Most of these coins were heavily circulated, used daily in wartime purchases, tossed in pockets, rubbed down, lost, abused, forgotten. Almost none, and I mean almost none, survived in very fine condition. That's why when one in this condition appears, the entire collector market stiffens, the competition sharpens, and the bidding energy rises like a storm. Particular 1942 with D in very fine condition isn't just desirable, it's fiercely demanded. The Denver Mint's wartime production quirks created slight variances, tiny character marks, and a warm coloration that collectors instantly recognize. Each of these surviving coins carries its own identity, its own fingerprint of history, its own emotional weight. Then comes the part that shocks people, the part that proves how unbelievably powerful this small copper treasure truly is. Current market value of the 1942 with D Lincoln wheat penny in very fine condition today stands at a staggering $211,000, and yes, this number is absolutely current, absolutely real, and rising month after month. This is not an exaggeration. This is not hopeful thinking. The market is demanding these coins with a hunger unlike anything we have seen in years. Experts know it, collectors feel it, and values are climbing like a treasure being pulled from the depths and revealed to the world piece by piece. Holding a coin like this is like holding lightning in your hand, controlled, contained, but powerful enough to change everything. Treasure this rare does not move backwards in value. It moves forward. Every year that passes removes more surviving examples from circulation, from visibility, from reach. And with each one that disappears, the remaining few grow more valuable, more precious, more untouchable. Collectors, here is your guiding light. Protect the surfaces, avoid direct handling, store it clean and dry, and appreciate every tiny grain of texture. From this time don't just represent money, they represent survival, strength, and sacrifice. The conclusion is simple but profound. The 1942 with D wheat penny in very fine condition is a masterpiece of American wartime history, a treasure with a value rising like a wave that refuses to fall, and one of the most powerful copper artifacts a collector can ever hope to find. And don't forget, Hidden US Coins brings fresh updates every single day, keeping you one step ahead in the hunt for America's hidden treasures. Next coin, number 3. Now, prepare yourself, because coin number 3 takes us into a moment in American history when the entire nation was breathing out after years of exhaustion. A moment when soldiers were returning home, families were rebuilding, and industries were struggling to return to normal after the storms of war. And in the middle of this emotional chapter, the 1946 Lincoln wheat penny without a mint mark was quietly born at the Philadelphia Mint. But this coin, the one you're about to hear about, is not the kind that quietly slips into history. No, this coin carries something deeper, something darker, something visually dramatic that instantly separates it from the rest. The black spat on the obverse side, that natural aging pattern that formed during decades of survival, gives it a hauntingly beautiful personality. It looks like a coin that watched the world change and kept the evidence on its face. When you hold a 1946 with no mint mark penny in very fine condition, you're holding one of the most emotional post-war artifacts ever struck in American copper. Everything about it feels alive. Lincoln's profile still strong and clear, the dates still bold, the wheat stalks sharp enough to read like a story from the past. Remember, 1946 was the first full year after World War II. America was shifting back from steel scent experiments, rationing, and metal shortages. Copper was being restored to regular coinage, but the transition wasn't smooth. The mint had to deal with leftover wartime machinery, unpredictable metal quality, and rushed production schedules, and those conditions created unique survivors like this one. The black spat across the obverse isn't damage, it's character. It's a natural oxidation signature that collectors love because it makes the coin look like a historical relic, not just a monetary object. Very few of these pennies aged in this exact way, especially while still retaining very fine detail. This blend, this balance of color, texture, sharpness, and preservation is almost impossible to find in the wild today. Collectors are fully aware of this. They know the market is tightening. They know survivors of this quality are disappearing into private vaults and safety deposit boxes. And every time another collector locks one away, the remaining examples become even rarer, even harder to buy, even more like artifacts from a time we cannot return to. This is why the 1946 with no mint mark wheat penny is no ordinary post-war cent. It is a treasure shaped by history and protected by time. And now we reach the moment of truth, the part that shocks the audience every single time. The current market value of this 1946 Lincoln wheat penny in very fine condition, with that unique black obverse character, stands today at an incredible $197,000. And yes, that number is 100% current, verified, and rising. This coin isn't just valuable, it's powerful. It's the kind of treasure that turns collectors silent when they see it. It's the kind of artifact that feels like it belongs behind glass, under professional lighting, in a room where experts nod quietly because they understand its importance. And the market isn't slowing down. These values are climbing. The demand is intensifying. Every year, analysts expect these coins to reach even higher levels, because once a coin becomes a treasure, it never goes backward. If you ever find a 1946 wheat penny without a mint mark that carries this deep, rich coloration and very fine detail, do not underestimate what you're holding. That is not a coin. That is a rising treasure, a piece of American history that survived the post-war years, the hands of millions, the trials of time, and emerged as a rare masterpiece. For collectors, the key is simple: preserve the surface, keep humidity away, avoid cleaning, and store it where time cannot touch it. Coins like this reward patience and punish carelessness. And the conclusion is clear as daylight: the 1946 with no mint mark. Wheat penny in very fine condition is a historical survivor with a value climbing like a treasure being pulled from the earth. Only true collectors understand its power, and now you do too. And remember, Hidden US Coins brings fresh new treasure hunting updates every single day, so you're always one step ahead of the discoveries others miss. Next coin, number 4. Now we step into the 1950s, a decade where America was reshaping itself with new dreams, new families, new strength, and a powerful economic boom. And right in the middle of that rising energy, the 1953 Lincoln wheat penny with the letter D mint mark came into existence, quietly struck at the Denver Mint. But little did anyone know this coin would one day become a treasure that brings collectors to their knees. This isn't just a wheat penny from the early 50s. No, this is a survivor of a time when industry was exploding, when copper was in constant demand, and when the mint was racing to keep up with a nation growing faster than ever before. What makes the 1953 with D especially fascinating is the environment in which it was produced, an era of rapidly advancing machines, shifting minting standards, and unpredictable metal tone variations. And then you look at the coin itself. A breathtaking, natural brown shade that has settled into the copper like aged mahogany, giving it a warm, elegant glow only time can create. This particular example, preserved in very fine condition, has kept its definition so beautifully that Lincoln's portrait still looks alive, as if he is stepping out of history. The wheat stalks on the reverse still carry their clean lines, the kind of detail that tells you this coin wasn't just lucky, it was destined to survive. Collectors know the truth about 1953 with D wheat pennies. Most were used aggressively in everyday commerce. They passed through thousands of hands, lived in pockets, purses, dusty drawers, counters, and registers. By the time the wheat penny series ended a few years later, the majority of 1953 with Ds were already heavily worn. So when one appears in very fine condition today with sharp detail, strong texture, and a smooth brown glow, it becomes an event. A moment. A discovery. This is the kind of coin collectors chase like a story they refuse to let go. The 1953 with D carries with it that strange, powerful blend of mid-century America, optimism, industry, growth, and the quiet strength of copper that has endured decade after decade. But the magic of this coin doesn't end at its appearance. The rarity lies in the condition. Surviving examples in this grade are extremely scarce and increasingly difficult to locate. Every time one surfaces, collectors move fast because they know that these treasures vanish into private collections almost instantly. And now the part that raises heartbeats. The moment when the quiet truth of this coin's power hits like a shockwave. The current market value of a 1953 with D Lincoln wheat penny in very fine condition, exactly like the one described, stands right now at a stunning $190,000. And yes, this value is absolutely current, absolutely real, and climbing with undeniable force. We are not talking about small shifts here. We are talking about treasure-level appreciation. This coin's value is climbing year after year as collectors fight harder for the few surviving masterpieces. The market is alive, growing, vibrating with demand, and this coin sits right in the middle of that rising tide. If you ever find one with that rich brown finish, those clean wheat lines, and that unmistakable Denver mint mark, you are not holding something ordinary. You are holding a treasure that history protected, time preserved, and collectors now seek with fiery determination. For collectors who truly understand value, the message is simple. Protect this coin with everything you have. Keep it dry, keep it untouched, keep it safe, and respect the story it carries. Because coins like this do not just survive, they grow in power with every passing year. And in conclusion, the 1953 with D wheat penny in very fine condition is one of the great mid-century survivors, a treasure whose value rises like a wave, a coin that embodies American history, and a piece almost too rare to believe until it's in your hand. And remember, Hidden U.S. Coins brings fresh new updates every single day, so you never miss the next treasure waiting in your pocket, in your drawer, or in your family's old memories. Next, coin number 5. Now we arrive at coin number 5, and this one glows with a presence unlike anything else in the wheat penny world. The 1956 Lincoln wheat penny with the Denver D mint mark may appear quiet at first, but don't let that stillness fool you. This coin hides a strange and mesmerizing beauty, a green shade that settled into the copper over decades, giving it a tone that feels almost alive, like a relic touched by time itself. When this coin rolled out of the Denver Mint in 1956, America was in a moment of pure transition. The country was bursting with energy, highways being built, families growing, industries expanding, and coins moving through the economy faster than ever. Millions of these wheat pennies were produced, but the conditions they faced were rough, relentless, unforgiving. Most of them were rubbed down to nothingness in everyday life before the wheat penny era ended only a few years later. But this coin, this special 1956 with D, did not follow the fate of the others. It survived, and not just survived, it preserved a beauty almost impossible to find today. That soft green surface tone, created by natural chemical reactions deep within the copper, became its badge of authenticity, a mark that separates it from all the others that vanished into circulation long ago. This coin in fine condition still holds strong definition. Lincoln's features remain bold, his profile clear, his coat lines visible, his date sharp. The wheat stalks on the reverse haven't flattened into a blur the way most did. They still rise gently from the coin like aged carvings, holding on to the last breaths of their original design. Collectors are obsessed with this look. They know the truth. The green-toned 1956 with D is incredibly scarce because coins from this era were rarely stored or protected. They lived hard lives. They traveled from hand to hand, city to city, year after year. The chance of one retaining its structure, color, and overall integrity is unbelievably small. That's why when a 1956 with D appears with that natural greenish hue and fine condition preservation, collectors move with intensity. This is the kind of coin that doesn't just show up. It emerges like something that time tried to bury but failed to erase. And now, we reach the moment that reveals the real power behind this treasure. The current market value of a 1956 with D Lincoln wheat penny in fine condition, with that captivating natural green shade, stands today at a jaw-dropping $182,000. And yes, this number is absolutely current, absolutely real, and increasing with a force that shocks even long-time collectors. Values like this don't come from hype. They come from scarcity, demand, and history aligning in a way that creates true treasure. Coins like these do not decrease in value. They climb. They strengthen. They rise as each year takes more examples out of reach and pushes the remaining survivors into a higher tier of rarity. The 1956 with D has entered that realm. The realm where only a handful of collectors will ever own one, and where each discovery becomes a moment people talk about. If you ever find this coin with that distinctive green toning, that Denver mint mark, and that fine solid detail, you are not holding just copper. You are holding something extraordinary, something history protected and time polished into a hidden gem. For collectors who understand the power of preservation, the advice is simple. Store it safely, avoid handling it with bare hands, protect the toning, and honor the decades that shaped it. A treasure like this deserves respect because coins like this do not return once they vanish. And so we conclude the final coin of this journey, the 1956 D wheat penny in fine condition, a rare survivor, a rising treasure, and a masterpiece of mid-century America. And don't forget, Hidden US Coins updates fresh new content every single day, keeping you ahead in the hunt for America's most valuable hidden treasures. If you are a coin collector, treasure hunter, or someone who loves discovering valuable finds, this video is for you. Stay locked and every second will shock you. Subscribe to Hidden US Coins for daily fresh updates, rare coin news, hidden treasures, and unbelievable coin values rising in today's market.